To come again. As the year flew by from the excitement, we now declare the opening of our special tape tournament begins. In 1996.
King of Fighters 96 hit the arcades in, yes, of course, 1996. The plot follows a new King of Fighters tournament created by Chizuru Kagura, the heir of the Yatta clan, who wants to find and recruit Kyo Kusanagi, who defeated the previous King of Fighters host, Rugal Burstein. King of Fighters 96 makes a few slight changes to the gameplay of previous King of Fighter games, by introducing new techniques. The dodge technique from the previous two games is replaced by an emergency evasion or attack deflector, which allows the player's character to roll away or towards the opponent. In the later case, the player can have the ability to roll towards the opponent and end up on the other side. The player can also determine the height of the jump and perform small or high jumps. Additionally, the graphics for all the character sprites from the previous games were redrawn, and the commands for certain special and super moves were changed from previous games. Like in the previous, super special moves can be performed when the power gauge is filled up, or when the player's life gauge is flashing red. However, the player can also perform a more powerful version of their regular super move, if both conditions are met. In the King of Fighters 95 video, I stated that I preferred the arcade's chip music to the CD renditions, and I still do. But it's a whole different story when it comes to the King of Fighters 96. This time round, the arranged soundtrack kicks ass. Not only that, but this Neo Geo CD version seems to be the same as its arcade big brother. Are there any animation cuts? Well, maybe, but I haven't noticed them. Game modes are what you'd expect: team battle, single battle, and versus modes of each, plus a survival mode. The same modes are also present on the Saturn, PlayStation, and PlayStation 2 versions. Sadly, the Neo Geo CD's ugly load times are an issue here, but then again, they're also an issue on another certain console port. King of Fighters 95 on the PlayStation was really good, but the same can't be said about the King of Fighters 96. This time round, it's pretty noticeable there's a lack of animation during gameplay. It also seems a little unresponsive to me, but the worst nail in the coffin are the loading times. Oh my god, they are so annoying. God forbid you have to rematch an opponent time after time, you'll get sick to death from looking at the loading screens. Now this is more like it. The Sega Saturn port is easily the best of the original ports. It features pretty much all, if not all of the animation found in the arcade original, faster loading times than both the Neo Geo CD and PlayStation, and super tight controls. In fact, outside the arcade, this was the one to own. Sadly, just like the PlayStation version, it was never released outside of Japan, making it extremely difficult to play on PAL or US Saturns, due to this game requiring the 1MB RAM cartridge. Just like the King of Fighters 95, the King of Fighters 96 for the PlayStation 2 is featured on the Orochi Saga collection. What I failed to mention last time was that the Western version of this collection is a steaming heap of crap. It was brought to my attention that the Western release did have more games on it, but they were all emulated and emulated badly. This is the exact same release that was released for the PSP and Wii, and the prime reason why those versions were not included on the King of Fighters 95 video. Anyway, this is the Japanese version for the PS2, which is not emulated. This is a very high quality port which plays and sounds just like the real thing. You do get some options such as screen filtering and screen size, however for the sake of this video, everything has been left to default. The King of Fighters 96, or the King of Fighters Heart of the Battle, as it was called in Europe, is the second King of Fighters game to appear on the Game Boy. We're playing it here via the Super Game Boy for some added colour. The King of Fighters 95 port for the Game Boy was good, but this game is even better. The character sprites are now far more defined. There's actual renditions of the arcade's music, and they're very good. And we also have many backgrounds taken from the arcade game. Sadly, this port only includes 17 of the 29 characters from the original version, but that's okay because it plays really well and even contains exclusive characters in the shape of Orochi Iori and Orochi Leona from the King of Fighters 97, a stronger version of Chizu Kagura, and the final boss of the game, Genitsu, and Mr. Karate, Takuma's persona in the original Art of Fighting. And let's take a look at all those versions of the King of Fighters 96 running side by side.